Welcome back to another drawing session with me, Miss Emily. I miss you girls so much, and I am very excited that this week I am going to show you how to draw flowers. If you know me, you know I love drawing flowers. I love drawing organic shapes from nature, and I love doing patterns, which are repeating the same things over and over again. So I'm going to show you how to draw 3 different flowers. You can make a garden out of this, or you could just focus on one flower and add a bunch of patterns in it, add a bunch of colors and shading. There's so many things that you can do with flowers. So let's get started. So we're going to have our nice sharp pencil, the nice eraser. We're going to have a black marker. I have a Sharpie, but you can use just a regular black marker, and our sheet of paper. So the first flower I want to show you how to do is a daisy. So a daisy is pretty much a circle in the middle. And remember to draw lightly, because if you don't like the marks you make, you can erase them. So with a daisy, it's going to have lots of longer petals, and they are going to almost have a heart-shaped top. So I'm going to show you how to draw that. So you have your circle, and then you are going to do a straight line up, and you're going to make it really tall. Then you're going to make a slight M shape at the top, which almost looks like the top of a heart. Okay? You're going to do the same thing. So right next to that line, you're going to do another line, and you're going to do an M at the very, very top, a very, very slight M. This is going to give it the daisy petal look. Now, what I find helpful is to be turning my paper as I'm drawing. I can't do it so much for the sake of this drawing video, but instead of moving my hand across the paper, I rotate the paper around my hand. That's because it's just easier for me to rotate the paper than my hand. It's hard to draw upside down, and we're going to have to go all the way around this circle with the same petals. Flowers are organic, so none of the petals are going to be exactly the same, so don't stress about that, okay? So like I said, I'm going to move the paper and not my hand, because it's really, really hard to draw upside down. So here I have my daisy shape. Daisy's petals have lines in the middle, so I'm going to do 3 lines in each of the individual petals. This is going to give it that folded look and give it some 3-dimensional features. So right where that M is, where that point is, that's where you're going to do 1 line. And like I said, you can always use a ruler or the spine of a hardbound book to be your straight lines if you want super straight lines, but I'm okay with doing mine freehand. So I'm going to do 3 lines. And then you have your daisy. If you want to add some variation in the petals, you can do these smaller circles and have them look like seeds. And you can just add a bunch of them. Add different sizes. So do some that are really teeny tiny, some that are medium sized, some that are huge, and some that are normal. And add them really close together, but try your best not to have them touching. That'll help you if you're trying to color with colored pencil. Next, I'm going to show you how to draw a lotus flower. So a lotus is known for being on a lily pad, so we'll also do that. But you can do just lotus shapes all the time. They also can resemble succulents, which are in your garden. But to get started, what you're going to need to do is make sure that you're drawing very lightly with your pencil, because this is a symmetrical flower, so it's not like the daisy where all the sides aren't the same. You're going to try your very best to have all these shapes in the flower to be the same, okay? So you're going to start with your middle petal, and you are going to draw a super big point with a curved line and then mirror the same line on one side. So it's going to look like a point. Look like a point. I left some space. I left some space at the bottom, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that a little later. Okay? Then you're going to go to the right side and you're going to do another curved line. Okay? But you're going to have it more angled. So instead of these two straight lines, you're going to do more of an angled line. So it's going to be almost like a 45-degree angle. Okay? And then you're going to curve it down. Curve it down. This is very similar to the thumb line that we did in our very first hand drawing, where you do a 45-degree angle, you curve in, and then you curve back out. Okay? We're going to do the same thing on this side, so you're going to find where that line was. So you are going to line up on the middle flower where you started the one on the side, and you're going to start there with this one on the left side or the right side of the middle petal. Okay, so you're going to do that 45-degree line. You're going to turn in and then turn out. Okay, turn in and turn out. And you're going to do the same thing again on both sides. So you're going to do a 45-degree angle, a nice point, and then curve it back in. Try to line it up as best you can. Do a line here and that line here. Okay. And there you have your lotus. So to do your lily pad, you're gonna come about a third of the way from this line of this last petal that you did, and you're going to divide it by maybe thirds. So by here and by here, into 3 sections. And by, I don't know, right about here, you're going to do that same shape that we also did with the birthday cake, which was the plate that it was resting on, or the top of the pot with the cactus plant, okay? And it's going to be that same shape. That's going to be your lily pad, okay? And remember, if you want to do little lines to help you with your measuring, I always do that with my drawings. And then you can just erase them with your really nice pencil. Okay, that's the nice thing about drawing oily and having a nice pencil. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some petals in the front, right? Because if we just have the petals like this, it's going to look two-dimensional, so it's going to look really flat. We're going to add some dimension to it. So we're going to come over here, and we're going to make the point, and we're going to bring it way forward, way forward. Then we're going to try to curve this side, and curve this one. And we're going to do one, that's another straight one, another straight one. So it's going to mirror, so it's going to be a reflection, as if there's a line here and a mirror. It's going to be a reflection of this, but it's going to be slightly smaller because it's going to show some foreshortening, which means it's closer. Then you're going to do another curve U shape and another petal, and then you're going to come over here. Do the same thing, and then go ahead and do one more small one over here. And there you have your lotus flower, where you have your 5 main petals on top, your 2 on the side that point towards the side of the lily pad, and then your 5 on the bottom, 5 on the bottom. All right, and the very last flower I'm going to show you how to draw is how to draw a rose. So a rose is a U shape, a big, long, uppercase U shape, and then all you draw is a spiral in the middle on the top. So you're going to start in the middle of the spiral, and you're going to go around and around until you get to the sides of the U shape. Sides of the U shape. Okay? So you're literally just going to have just a big, long, uppercase U shape, a spiral slightly that you're going to start slightly above that U, and you're going to do a big swirl until it connects to this line, until it connects to that line. Then you're going to do your stem, and you can add the same style petals as leaves. You could do that at the base of your rose, And you can draw some sharp triangles that alternate down the stem as thorns. And there you have your rose. So again, we have our daisy, we have our lotus, and we have our long stem rose. All right, now we're going to color in our flowers. So to start with the daisy, we are going to leave the petals white, but we are going to color the inside yellow. So you can take a yellow crayon and just shade over that entire area. Then I'm going to take my marker and I am going to just go over the lines I already made with my pencil with marker. And there you have your daisy. Next, I'm going to color in this rose. So you can make roses any color you like, since roses come in just about every color. But I'm just going to do some red. So I'm going to lightly shade my red rose up top. Okay, just lightly shade. Then, like I said, once I meet the top of the rose to the bulb of the rose, or the big part of the rose, I'm going to do a little bit darker. And I'm going to do the same thing for the body of the rose. So I'm going to bring that all the way down, lightly shading, going over it a few times. I'm going to have the palm of my hand, the side of my hand, be flat against the paper, leading the way of my lines, so I can keep these shading marks as close together as possible. Then I'm going to, on the borders, do a little bit darker, Then I'm going to revisit the spiral at the top, and I'm just going to go a little bit darker where my pencil lines were. So I'm going to show those curved lines a little bit more. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some green to my leaves. You can do more details in your leaves. You can add some folds, some lines. You can do dark green, mix of light green. You can make whatever green you want. And I'm also going to color in those thorns. Thorns can be black or brown, or they can be the green color. And there you have your colored in rose. All right, and the last flower that we are going to color in is our lotus. So I decided on picking two blues, and two different blues, and a gray. And then I'm also going to use the same green for my lily pad. So you can just go ahead and start shading that lily pad. I like to do a nice light shade like I do with all my drawings first. I'm just going to go in between those petals on the bottom and just go ahead and fill in as much space as I can on the lily pad. I have some shading on my lily pad. I'm going to start by doing gray just in the middle of my lotus flower. So you're noticing that I'm actually doing lines. I'm doing lines. Now these are hatching lines. Okay, in the middle I'm going to do more of like a diamond shape. And then on the sides I'm going to do more of the shape of the petal itself. But I'm only going to do those lines in the middle. Then the same thing on the bottom. I'm only going to just do some highlight marks with that gray. And then with those two petals that are kind of more towards the side, we're going to kind of do it like that and have them move to the side. All right, and so we're finishing up our shading here with the highlights, which is with this gray color. Okay, then we're going to take the color that is lighter of the two shades that we're going to use, and we're going to start with lighter first. So you always want to start with your lighter value, and we are going to do it at the top of the flower. Okay, that's because if the sun was coming down, it'd be lighter up here because the light would be hitting it. So I'm going to do that lighter color just at the tip or the top of your flower. So now I'm going to do a little bit of darker marks on the underside of the petals. This is going to add some value again here. Alright, and it was really hard to show how I'm doing the shading, but I'm pressing down harder on my crayon as I get towards where the petals meet together, and that's all I'm doing here. And I'm making sure the flowers, petals themselves are all the way shaded in, that there's no white spots. Because if you have a bunch of white in there, it's going to look incomplete. So you want it to be nice and fully colored in, Then, last but not least, I am going to add just a little bit darker places. So I'm going to go back to where my original pencil marks were. I'm going to do the same shading that I did with the rose, but I'm going to do it on each individual petal. So I'm going to do some harder pressure marks on the outside of each petal. So you can see that's nice and shaded. Okay, and you can always go back and darken where you want to, but have nice dark, middle, and light values. Okay, so we are going to add that final blue color just to give it a little bit more variation in the drawing if we want to, but it could be done now if we want. So I'm just going to add some more variation with a dark blue. So with the dark blue, I am just going to do a little bit of shading in the bottom. I'm going to do this only at the top ones. Okay, so it's actually only on the 4. Since I want this to be my main focus, I'm just going to have a little bit of darker spots right here. And there you have it. So as we look, we have our rose, our daisy, and our lotus flower. Hope you enjoyed today's drawing video on how to draw 3 different types of flowers. Please post your flowers on Facebook. I would love to see what you're doing. Bye, girls. Miss you.